guys, Troy here.
I think Duels.
Huh? I decked in Duels, where I'm going to show you my deck, and you can place your comments under. This is my Kagero deck. The starter is Lizard Soldier Koro. When you ride a Kagero, he moves back.
Go like this, so that people can see.
Moves back. Then you can counter blast one. He goes to the drop zone. And he searches for another grade 1 or below.
Well, grade 1 or lower, my friend.
Yeah. Anyway, these are my shield triggers, Ganjos. All 10,000 shields and a 5,000 power heal. You can only have 4 in them. Then there's 3 Lizard Soldier Ganus and a Lizard Runner Noft.
Show him the other way. Show him this way towards me.
Oh, sorry.
Really depends on you and how that's way the people can see him. Yeah. Alright.
And then I got 3 draw triggers. Now this one is Gatling Claw Dragon. His skill is that you can counter blast one and put him in the soul. If you have a Kagero, then you can use this effect. And it can retire a grade 0 below Kagero. I mean grade 0 rear guard and retire it on your opponent's field. And then there's Dragon Dancer Harmonicas. Now these are good triggers. 5 criticals. 4 Rakshas, which their effect is during my main phase, if I retire my opponent's rear guard, he gains an extra 3,000 power. Tar is the better critical trigger.
Isn't there a combo that goes with it?
Huh?
Isn't there a Tar combo isn't there a good combo that goes good with it?
That's an excellent question. There is. You have to have, if you have the Dragon Knight Alif on the field with Bar and Tar, you can counter blast one and put them in the soul and search your deck for the embodiment of Victory Alif, which I don't have either of those 2 cards, which kind of sucks, but it is a very powerful effect. Those were my grade 0s. These are my grade 1s. These 2 are Grapshot Wyverns. They give when they're placed on the rear guard, they give a 2,000 power to any of the Kageros on the field. Then you got these 2, Wyvern Strike Jarans. They work really well with the Wyvern Strike Tages because they can give an extra 4,000 power to them, and they can only get that power to them. Then you got Dragon Dancer Lourdes. She's a great starter when you ride over Conroe because when she attacks, if you have 2 or less if your opponent has 2 or less rear guards on the field, she gains 3,000 power. It's really better to start with that. Then you got Demonic Dragon Dona Joka. She has the same effect as the Demonic Dragon Mage Raksha.
Monster Reborn Exploder.
She can get 3,000 points when I retire one of my opponent's rear guards. And then you got the best powerhouses, embodiment of Big Armor Bar. Now that's the one I was talking about when I was mentioning the combo. Then you got the Flame of Hope Air Mode, and he sure does give a good hope. Sorry, bad joke. You can choose a card from your hand to discard, and you get to draw a new card to replace it. Now you got Gojo. I'm sorry. When he boosts and his attack succeeds, you can drop a card to draw a card.
I didn't make it.
Yeah. Gojo is almost the same as Air Mode, except the Dragon Monks rests and then you discard and then you discard it and then draw a card. Now for my grade 2s. These 2 are very good for protection. Dragon Knight Burger. His skill gives an extra 5,000 shield when you intercept with him. It's called a special intercept. When your opponent attacks the Vanguard. And if it's Kagero. Then I got Dragon Knight Nahalon. He's just good to lay in the Then we got Cross Shot Garb. He's just almost the same as Nahalon. Then my 2 best Flame Edge Dragons. Their effect is when they hit the opponent's vanguard. This unit hits and hits an opponent and if I Kagero unit, I can soul charge 1, and it's perfect for a Vortex Dragon.
Yes.
And now these two, they're like my avatars, Dragon Arm Knights. Their effect is if I have nothing in the back behind him, he loses 2,000 power, but he's an active effect is you can counterblast 2 cards, like say these two. And you can do it twice because it's an active effect. And he gains 1,000 for each of the counterblasts. Then, like these are the Wyvern Strike Tages I was talking about when I mentioned Jaren. Now their effect is really more cool because then they can attack the opponent's rear guard that's behind their opponent's vanguard. So it's
same well.
Yeah. So that's a pretty good effect. And then Berserk Dragon. When this card is called in the vanguard or rear guard circle, you can pretty much counterblast 2 cards like these, and you can retire one of your opponent's grade 2 or lower rear guards. And that is a good effect when it comes to using one specific card, which I will demonstrate later. Now I'm going to say this one for last.
Is your favorite?
Yes. These two are Dragonic Executioners. They gain a 2,000 power if there's a Kagero in the vanguard circle. So it's like when it attacks, of course.
I know. They probably figured this out.
Yeah. Then you got Dragon Monk Goku. Dragon Monk Goku effect is when you check and when you get a twin drive and you check a grade 3, say.
You don't have to show them this when it's.
Yeah. Anyway, he can retire one of your grade 1 or less rear guards. Your opponent's grade 1 or less rear guards. It's a really nice effect. Then you got Demonic Dragon Berserker Yaksha. Now he's the one I was talking about when I mentioned Berserk Dragon, because while he's in the hand, if during my main phase, if I destroy an opponent's rear guard, and if I have a grade 2 in the vanguard circle, I can reveal it and ride it. That's what's called a superior ride. Now these 3 are my good cards. Dragonic Overlord. Now here's the thing. If I have no Kageros in the vanguard, they lose 2,000, which that will never happen. I already used to have Kageros. But here's the thing. His counterblast. Now listen, it's very important you know this. The counterblast requires you need to use 3 counterblasts. Once that's done, he gains 5,000 power. However, he cannot use Twin Drive. Once you activate it, his Twin Drive is no more. The only thing that's good about it is when he attacks a rear guard, he destroys it. He stands up, and he can continue doing this until there's no more rear guards on the front side of the field. That's why that means you can check like 3 drive. You can do 3 drive checks instead of just 2, which will be worth it if your opponent doesn't guard it. Now these 2 Vortex Dragons are good too, because at the beginning of your turn you have to soul charge. After that it gains 2,000 power. And his effect is, if I have 8 cards in the soul and 5 cards I can flip for damage, I can retire 3 of my opponent's rear guards. Very powerful effect. Now this is my favorite and powerful effect. The Dragonic Lawkeeper. It's a limit break user. If I have 4 or more damage, I can use this effect, and I can bind the opponent's rear guard. Bind means if I have to counterblast 1 to use it. Bind means the cards are out of the field, but they're not permanently out. They just leave the field until the beginning of the end phase. However, they can up to 4 can come back. So it's like you have 5, but you have to send.
I'm going to be explaining it later. I'm going to explain the man to them. One second.
Okay, so anyway, then while he's in the vanguard circle, that's when his effects can kick in. When he attacks, he gains 3,000 power since if the opponent has 2 or less cards in the rear guard circle. That's why it's important to use this effect. And that's my deck. So make comments and tell me how good or bad it is, and give me some advice.